Ba-blam, ba-blam.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wisdom Saves. The Chocolatiers. We're back, and we're playing some Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Dom. I will be our DM for the evening, but let's go ahead and introduce all of our players and their characters before we hop back in to the session that I'm excited for. It will be devilishly good fun. First up, Bryn, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I'm Alishiera. I am a variety streamer. I'm playing Brynjael the Irradiant, and she is shitting herself low-key because she is not wearing armor, and she is a person of faith that's being dragged to the 8th level of hell.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Yeah.
Eminence.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I play Eminence, Tiefling Warlock, and even though this is kind of technically her home, she is also shitting herself. So this is going to go great.
Yeah. Oriana.
Hello. I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to figure out how to flatten my character sheet. But hi, I am Maleficent, and I play Oriana, who is also not pleased to be home, but for different reasons.
Yes. And Aery.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Okat. I'm an artist, and I play Aery, who is probably going to pretend that he's not shitting himself the whole time.
Yes. And Natalie.
Hi, I'm BurrowsRed. I play Natalie. Natalie is... I haven't decided how she feels. She's probably just taking it all in. Burrows, however, super excited. So, absolutely pleased.
Absolutely, yeah. So as you might have been able to pick up from our introductions, the party find themselves in an unusual situation for most adventuring parties. At last week's episode, the party returned to the city of Valater, and on the way, they encountered a doppelganger that was using Aery's face. After a brief scene, they were able to track down the individual and convince them not to use their face anymore, but did coerce them to come get some food and drinks while they were still a bit miffed about the whole exchange.
Bless you.
I apologize. I don't know why I'm sneezing. I'm just going to mute real. Do you want to see me blow my nose on camera? That's always good viewer money. Shazarash was their name, and they had a very, very good time with the party. However, after some food and some drinks and some quite entertaining banter, they departed on their way. The party decided to clean themselves up and put on their finery, removing their weapons and armor, to head towards the central keep of Valater to try to update El Romior and Silence and Naladri on their progress. They had a brief meeting with them before being given an audience with the king, King Arnold. They met with the king, and he was very thankful and asked what the party wanted, and they insisted they didn't want anything except for his goodwill. Could have said a +1 item. I'm just saying. They also did make an agreement to return the following morning when Oriana had prepared a remove curse spell in an attempt to try to remove the seasonal illness that was afflicting King Arnold from time to time, as several other lesser spells didn't seem to have the same effect. That said, on the way out, Eminence was briefly pulled aside by Silence and was asked out to lunch, to which she tentatively agreed, and the party then left the central keep of Valater, made their way back to the Golden Tankard, and upon entering the front door, encountered what looked to be a human man in a black suit, black button-up, red tie, who claimed that the twins' father expected them, And after a brief exchange and a realization that some other members of the party had affiliations to different, more good and lawful aligned gods, thought it would be funny to take all of them. And after a brief teleportation spell, the party found themselves on an enormous veranda made out of ice and black iron. In front of them were the open gates to the massive ice citadel of Mephistar on the 8th layer of hell, Cania. The girl's father, Mephistopheles, waits up above within the castle itself, but for the time being, the 5 of you and Irileth find yourselves gazing out at the expanse of Cania. The whistling winds sending shards of ice the size of complete humanoid, complete humans up into the air, spiraling around in terrible tempests. You could see stormy clouds up above, threatening constant snow and hail off in the distance, and even below this plateau on which Mephistar is based, you could see enormous glaciers the size of mountains rolling and sliding across ice beneath, as if there's some sort of enormous earthquake just constantly frothing and roiling this expanse of ice and cold. That said, you do immediately notice that on the plateau, you are somewhat, if not warm, you are not cold. You are at that perfect neutral temperature. And that temperature is specific to each of you individually. Every now and again, one of the gusts of wind blasts up against the side of the plateau and seems to pierce whatever bubble is protecting you with some sort of warming magic. And the frigid temperature is so cold that you can feel your lips almost begin to freeze just off of the sheer breeze and gust that is coming up. Your ears beginning to get a little cold and tingly, and you are suddenly reminded that you're in finery suited to the lowlands of Valater in the spring, not Cania, the frigid wastes. Turning around behind you, you can see the enormous citadel of Mephistar itself, rising hundreds of floors up into the sky. Very, very similar to like Wrath of the Lich King, the Lich King's Ice Crown Citadel. It is black iron and crystal blue ice, almost like this mingling black, blue, and white jewel crowning this enormous mountain on top of which the Citadel is based. And here and there, out of different floors and windows, you can see enormous gouts of steam and almost like brackish, almost sort of greenish gouts of exhaust as something else is going on within the Citadel. But that said, Irileth turns to the 5 of you. Welcome to hell, darlings. Daughters, I assume you know the way to your father's sitting room.
I like to think that when he says welcome to hell, darlings, Ori and I just exchange a look like he always says that.
He does.
Very
Every
ironic.
time.
Yeah.
Will anyone be escorting us and our friends?
Oh, well, I don't have any engagements right away. I was just going to look for some souls to devour, but I suppose if you would like a tour through the grand halls, we can make a detour through the trophy room. Does that sound adequate?
I think that will be enlightening for our friends.
Good. And with that, he turns around and his like perfectly black polished shoes just click satisfyingly across the marble ice. And beneath you, you see that it is not iron on which you stand. It is solid blue and white ice, creating this beautiful sort of like coalescing pattern beneath you. And deep below, you can almost see fissures in this glacier atop which the Citadel currently sits. But he's not waiting. He's turning around and walking into the Citadel. What would you like to do?
How does everybody else look? Because, I mean, I've been here before.
Brynjael's
Aery's,
not
trying to not look
speaking.
intimidated. I wish you could put that gif in the.
Yeah, it's just wide eyes and that's it. Just stock still, like, all right.
It's just like the customer service smile, where it's just like they're dead inside, but they
The
know
customer is like,
yeah, for
give me so much-
self-preservation, I'm smiling, but I want to not ever be perceived again.
What sort of trophies do you have in your trophy room?
I haven't been here for a while. It may have changed, but you'll see.
You know, the way that you said, like, oh, that might be enlightening, it was kind of threatening. And I'm apprehensive about the whole thing.
Absolutely fair. That's a fair reaction. I didn't mean it to be threatening, but it certainly will be something for you all.
That's still threatening.
At this point, Irilith is about 25 paces away, and he stops and looks back and, well, come on. Would you keep the Lord of the Eighth waiting?
Yes.
Eminence picks up her pace, but tries to look like she's not.
And the five of you hesitantly turn back towards the Citadel and one by one start making your way inside. As you enter into the interior, you can see that the majority of this Citadel is made out of solid ice. It is not cold to the touch. It is as if it has been sculpted out of clear and pristine marble. But as you pass a couple of doors to your left and right, Oriana and Eminence, the two of you can make a perception check as you're walking down this hallway following Irilith.
Dirty 20.
Hey.
A 14.
Say again?
Sorry, that's a 14.
14, okay. Oriana, you're able to notice that, I think Oriana and Eminence, the two of you both are able to notice, as you are walking by some of these doors leading down different hallways and heading in different directions, some of the edges of the door frames or the pillars adjacent to the doors or some of the filigree along the walls aren't as clear and distinct, as if the ice has been allowed to almost soften and sag a little bit. But then you take a few steps past these hallways and you come across this beautiful ornate twisting pillar, and the edges are sharp and clean, and you get the sense that the ice is so solid you could probably sharpen a blade on the ice itself. And then you come back to one of these other doors, and the door itself seems to almost be like sagging a little bit in the frame. From your memory here, this is a new development. Irilith leads you down the hallway, and eventually you come towards sort of like a large circular chamber, just this blue dome. And you can see all around you on the inside of the walls, painted in mosaic fashion and manner, are different depictions of Mephistopheles. engaging in different battles or bargaining with other archdukes and archduchesses of hell. And all the way buried in the corner of this painting, you see there's a small image of Mephistopheles down on one knee beneath a single red-robed figure. But all of the other paintings are just glorious, and you see the image of this enormous archdevil of hell, sort of like a celebration of their life. You get the sense that this is sort of like the welcoming area. And along the floor, you could see a number of runes in a circle pattern that you, the sisters, recognize as just sort of like a basic teleportation spell to get to different floors within Mephistar.
Could I please do as I always do whenever I enter this room and just have a glance around at the paintings and see if there's any new ones and if there's any representations of me that have been added yet?
Absolutely. Yeah. Make an investigation check. And I'll give you advantage because you did spend a lot of time here.
I think I'm actually going to roll physical dice because my computer is not playing well today and D&D Beyond is a bit much for it. So that's a 4.
A 4 with advantage?
No, I forgot already about the advantage. 20.
20. Yeah, so by the nature of your father's research, sometimes he comes across some incredible discoveries that alter how he engages with magic and how he engages with some of his plans and plots. You see that there is a new depiction of your father standing with what looks to be like a black stone. And from the stone itself, you can see sort of like these weird radiating waves coming off of it. And on the other side of it, you see what looks to be a figure like melting.
I'm gonna nudge Oriana and just sort of like subtly like, look at that. What do you think?
Oh, I'm glad that you've just let me in on that. Not that Oriana's saying this out loud, but what kind of black stone? Does it look like one that we recently hid in a forest, or is it just a rock?
So very clearly, this is like an artistic representation. Like, your father is only about 9 foot tall, but in the paintings of this dome, he's 15 and 20 feet tall. And all of the other devils, even like pit fiends, which are normally 15 or 20 feet tall, are smaller than him in height. So it's kind of tough to say. It just looks like in his hand, like a black pomegranate.
I think neither of us is dumb enough to say anything about it right now, but duly noted. Magic stone.
Save that in brain archives.
Absolutely. As the rest of you kind of enter in, Irilith kind of stands with his hands behind his back and just observes each of you as you look at these different depictions of the Lord of Cania, Archduke of the 8th layer of hell, and looks at your reactions. What does he see? Is Bryn still just like customer service smile? Is Natalie still just like absorbing everything?
Bryn is very like a cat when a cat knows they're being watched that does everything to avoid eye contact. So it's just like she'll feel his gaze turn to her and she'll actively just like not respond. Still like the same expression, but yeah, it's like when you go to pat a cat and it's like body's liquid, like but with his gaze, where it's just like
Yeah, I'd imagine that like Natalie at this point is looking like, do we see this depiction that Oriana and Eminence are pointing out there?
Yeah, I think after the two of them kind of talk to each other and point it out, your eyes are drawn in that depiction, in that direction, and eventually you do see that representation.
Yeah, I would imagine that Natalie at this exact point takes one big old step closer to Bryn and possibly Aery if Aery is also around.
And what's Aery doing? Is Aery how's Aery handling this?
I have an very important question. Is the demon guy hot.
And you.
Mephistopheles?
Yes.
In these paintings, he is very hot. He
Very
like
simping.
shirt off, crimson red skin, just like a small sort of like classic devil black chin beard, and like enormous ram horns coming out of his head. But his yeah, that he's a hot guy. Devil.
You two didn't say your father was so magnificent?
I believe I've mentioned it many times.
No, actually, I don't think you've ever mentioned it at all.
I don't think we've really ever mentioned our father before, to be fair.
Yeah, like usually you go to lengths to completely avoid it.
I mean, we didn't necessarily want you to be overwhelmed. It's a lot to take in, I know.
I desperately just want to be like, okay, yeah, oh, you didn't want to go to great lengths to get us overwhelmed, but bring us to actual hell. Yeah, sure, yeah, let's just chill. Casual stroll, it's fine, it's fine. I couldn't resist.
In our defense, also not our fault. But Oriana is going to roll her eyes again. I think that's going to be most of what she does today. And then just kind of indicate that we should keep walking.
Irilith is sort of waiting in the circle of rooms, and after the five of you enter into the circle of rooms, he says something in Infernal, which those of you who speak Infernal recognize that he says the number 99. And there's sort of like a brief shimmer and like a tapestry falling down from the ceiling. Your view of the domed room with all of the paintings next to you just sort of like falls. And suddenly you find yourself standing in a different location. This is a very long, like, almost like a kingly hallway that would lead up to like a throne in Game of Thrones. That sort of like enormous, just like wide open hallway. And to your left and right, you can see these enormous blocks of blue and white ice. And some of them are small, maybe only about waist high. Others rise up 15, 20, 25 feet into the air. And you can see shadows within these blocks of ice, shapes encased, humanoids and monsters and wings and tails and fangs and creatures of all shapes and sizes within each of these different blocks of ice. And Irilith pulls out his hand. Well, I do seem that we have about 5 minutes before your meeting with your father. Please, look around. Make yourselves comfortable.
Comfortable?
Yep.
Sorry?
Do you say that to him?
No, that's Burrows coming out. Natalie wouldn't say that. This comment had to be made.
Did you? Sorry. There was a picture put in chat of hot Mephistopheles, so I missed what you said about the room. Did you say that?
This is very on par for Aery, probably.
For Aery as well, yeah.
I mean, character.
Still just like the dream.
Did you say there are like there's like a sitting room sort of deal? Like,
so it's like this long.
It's like the throne room, but is there like a sitting area? Sorry.
Yes, there are no places to sit. You do see that there are like blocks of ice of all different sizes around you along the walls. Some of them are relatively small, like waist high. Some of them are 15, 20, 25 foot high. You can see that some of them have like iron chains around them, and some of them have what looks like almost these weird like clockwork mechanisms next to them. But these blocks of ice just sort of line the hall, leading up to what looks to be a magnum opus towards the end of the hall, but right now you can only just sort of see some shadows and shapes.
Oh, this place is so intense.
You do get used to it.
Kind of a weird mirror to the graveyard, hey?
Is it?
In what way?
Oh, none of these creatures are dead.
Right.
And you
That
see
makes it
Irilith's
better.
smile just slowly grow a little bit more as he watches the mortals just kind of in this beautiful castle.
I'm assuming that that is actually the face that Bryn is pulling. Ari's gonna like look at her and look back and realize that she hadn't actually thought exactly about how everybody else was going to react to this. She was just going home and she was grumpy about having to go home and see Dad.
I would imagine at this point, Natalie has also taken a stance in front of Bryn and Aery, in between them and Irilith. Just in kind of like a, yep, okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
Alive people in ice, love that, yes.
Oh, don't worry. It's all perfectly safe. Oriana, we have a new addition. Come, look at this one. And you see that he walks over probably about 20 foot down the hall, and there's a block of ice only about 10 or 12 feet high, maybe twice the height of a person. Just this large square block. And as you get closer, you can see what looks to be almost like a snake inside of it.
I do like snakes.
Eminence would have walked over to join them if they don't like actively discourage her from doing so. She'll act as if she was invited as well.
Yeah.
I'm more trying to decide whether Oriana would be pleased to see a snake because she likes snakes, or if she's just like, why?
This was one of our more recent discoveries. We found this beneath Mephistar after a glacier crash. We were very pleased to be able to extract it. Are you familiar with a guardian Naga?
Probably not. Is this a thing I can roll on?
Yeah, each of you can make a nature, history, or arcana check.
All of the things I'm bad at, great. All negative.
I'm good at nature, but that is still a 7.
Mine's a 9.
Mine's a 5. Bryn's still just like not even paying attention.
Well, that's not even half bad. It's okay. It's okay.
I got a 23.
Yeah. So, Aery, you have heard of Guardian Naga. So, generally, Guardian... Are you familiar with the Yuan Ti? Sort of like snake people that are evil that want to bring out their empire. Guardian Nagas are the opposite. They are good snake people. However, they are much more closer to serpentine form. Inside of this enormous block of ice, you see probably around like 30 or 35 foot long, this coiled mass of an enormous snake. No arms, no legs, sort of like an emerald green hue, but the face you can see is humanoid. Human eyes, a nose, a mouth, a distinct chin on the bottom, no ears as it kind of descends back into the hood of the snake. But its head is completely encased in the block of ice. And you also, each of you as you get closer, see that there is one of those like clockwork mechanisms next to the block of ice. And Irilith looks over. Would anyone like to take a pull?
I would.
Ever the vanguard. Eminence, please. And motions over to the machine, and you can see there's like just like a large black iron lever.
Okay, she'll go over and pull it as if she does this all the time.
Absolutely. You pull it and you hear the machine kind of... And a moment later, you hear what sounds like metal sliding on metal above you, as if a guillotine shing, has just been dropped. And in the top of the block, you cannot see it because you're so low, but now you see it entering a blade, a heavy black greatsword made out of iron, zoom, sinks into the block of ice directly behind the head of the creature, severing it completely within the ice. And slowly the clicking continues as the blade is withdrawn up out of the ice. And you now see that around the head, invisible before, but now that the blood is flowing out of the neck of this creature, beautiful, ornate spiderings of these tiny canals that begin to fill and create one of those like glass laser etchings as the creature's blood continues to pump out and pool into this beautiful shape. You see what look to be feathery wings etched into the ice, slowly appearing out of the creature's own blood, and the eyes kind of daze within the ice.
Aery is torn between being very impressed because it's beautiful and really sad because it's dead.
Yeah, right. Like,
Yeah, I think Bryn. So they were standing. There was like because Bryn, Natalie, and Aery hadn't really moved, had they? And they'd walked like away. The other three.
Yeah, they're about
away
20 feet
from-
away. Yeah.
On this happening, Bryn is just going to lean forward slightly and just whisper to Aery and Natalie, "We're going to die here." And then just goes back to just like blank face, like saying nothing.
The best part of this, Oriana and Eminence, is the Guardian Nagas. They can only be killed by a wish spell. This thing will be back in 7 days. It is such a great party trick.
It is beautiful, but she's very pale.
I do have to tell you, the Spinagons do not like cleaning it. It is, you have to flush out through the vents in the bottom, but it is, so much fun. And come, look over at this one. And he continues to walk a little bit further down the hallway, about 10 feet away, at what looks to be just like a regular humanoid-sized block.
Yeah, she'll follow along on his heels, kind of like a bit like she's happy that he's happy to talk to her about it now. Like they're bonding, and that's nice.
Oriana?
Oriana is going to follow, and she is rolling her eyes at fucking Eminence's response to this.
Absolutely. As you get over it, you see a single like humanoid-sized block, and you see what looks to be a human woman, just in like these sort of flowing white linens, and she has sort of these copper and gold bracers on her wrist, and she appears to be clutching what looks like a small short sword that's sort of broken. The blade has been broken off. But around her face, you see that there's a black iron box completely encasing her head. And again, you see a similar clockwork mechanism next to it. This was one of our more recent finds. A gift, actually. I believe Lord Mephistopheles encased this one themselves. Yes, here. And he kind of walks over to one of the other pieces, one of the other trophies, and sort of takes a chunk of ice and breaks it off. So he has just sort of like a small rectangular mirror of ice, and then walks back over and deliberately turns and faces away from the trophy. Come, take a look through the ice here with the reflection, and kind of holds it in front of him.
Yeah, she'll join him and kind of look over his shoulder.
Absolutely.
Yep. And once he's holding it and he sees the two of you are there, he kind of kicks out with his feet and hits the mechanism. And once again, you hear the and slowly the black iron box begins to lift. And from the reflection, you can see directly behind you, encased in the block of ice, is a Medusa. Her head beautiful, and her face absolutely gorgeous.
Eye shot of this.
With these snakes. So you're about 30 feet away. You can just make out what looks like a shadow within it, and something is like lifting up. But the two of you right there, you see a Medusa, a woman, and she has like this anguished, angry expression, as if she was in the middle of turning someone to stone. As the box kind of lifts up, this one's a lot of fun as well. We do have an antidote downstairs, but we like to play bargaining games with guests to see how much they're willing to pay to get it.
This is genuinely wonderful. I like this one.
I'm glad you appreciate it. And he kind of kicks behind him again, and the black iron just sinks and falls down a little bit. We have so many wonderful... mortals, come. Is there anything you would like to see?
The exit, particularly.
Ashley,
Well, you were looking at it.
don't be rude.
You
Do you
said
have
that the
any-
girls were... Oh, sorry. You're very quiet.
Do you have anything that's nice?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Come. And he walks down about 50 feet down the trophy hall and stands before what looks to be... It's not super tall. It's maybe only about 8 feet tall, but it is rather wide and rectangular. I think you good folk might enjoy this one.
As we're walking down to that next exhibit, can Eminence sidle up to Natalie and whisper, like, seriously though, don't be rude.
I don't even know that she would respond because, like, how do you even process it? Like, don't be rude. Oh my god, keep up the standards here. But, like, you know, people are just getting, like, fucking murdered. It's fine. And Natalie's just, like, twitching at the eyes. Like,
It comes back to life.
No one dies here.
sure.
So the rest of you sort of follow 40 feet down the hallway. Yeah, as you walk down, just like out of your periph, you see monsters and humans and devils and demons and mechanical things and creatures and shapes you've never seen before. And it gets to the point that it takes like an act of will not to like glance at some of the fantastical shapes as you're walking down. Does anybody want to look at anything? Or just
everyone
like
looks.
eyes forward?
Aery would
Okay.
look at everything.
Yeah. So you see what looks to be like a humanoid tiger with their hands reversed backwards in like these fine silk robes. You see what looks like a zombie, just like a human man with like a longsword. His skin is like pale and gray, and even in the ice, you can see like the chest moving and expanding. And every now and again, the eyes kind of like twitch and look around, and it just follows your progress as you walk by.
Probably at that point, Aery would stop into them.
Yeah. Anyways, you reach the block that Irilith is next to, and looking into it, you see a beautiful pearlescent white unicorn encased in ice, sort of ivory horn twisting up out of the top of it. On its back, you can see what looks like just a fine leather saddle with almost satin inlay along the sides. Beautifully made, absolutely gorgeous. And the twins, you probably recognize recognize this one. You know that it is part of a pair. This is the mount, and on the opposite side is the rider. Does this satisfy your goodness, desire to see something pleasant?
It is very beautiful. Are you going to kill it in front of us?
Oh no, this one doesn't come back to life, I'm afraid. We're saving it for a special occasion, I think, before we crack it open.
Okay.
Yeah, and as you kind of had that reaction, he chuckles to himself and, I look at the time. I am so sorry. We have to return back to the portal at this point, and he just snaps his fingers, and there's like a whoosh of wind, and the 6 of you are like back in the glyph circle. And at that, he starts to say something and then stops, and then looks back at the rest of you. Try not to make him mad. Speak when spoken to, that sort of thing.
Oh, fuck,
All right.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Good luck. And those of you who speak Infernal hear him say 100. And once again, like tapestries falling from the ceiling, your view shifts as there's just like a brief rush of wind. You now find yourselves sitting in, or standing in a glyph circle in almost like an enormous soap bubble. It's bulbous and wide, and you don't remember seeing anything like this on the edge of the tower, but looking around you 360 degrees, there is a very thin ice window that looks out across the wastelands of Cania. You can see it sort of bubbles up and rises towards the ceiling above, where it kind of gets this frosty white, preventing a view from the further floors up the tower. But this sitting room is filled with plush leather chairs of deep, rich woods. You can see that there are beautiful tapestries and throws across the floor, heavy blankets all across all of these chairs. And in the center, a small distance off of this area, you see what looks to be like an ornamental, twisting, circular fireplace, in which wood is sort of crackling warmly, letting out this almost comfortable glow to the room. But the wood is not generating any smoke, though you can feel its heat from this distance. On the other side of the room, you hear a deep, sort of like rich voice kind of chuckle. And as you turn to take it in, you see the visage of Dad. 9 foot tall, absolutely shredded with muscle, ripped, shirt off, never wears a shirt, deep crimson skin, sort of like a black chin beard, ram horns, folded bat wings across his back, is Mephistopheles. And as you turn, for the briefest instant, there's like a flash of white, and I'll have everyone make a perception check.
$16.
16.
17.
17.
11.
11.
10.
10. And Natalie?
I said
Perception?
18, but I was muted. I got 18.
18. Ah, okay. Yeah. So the sisters and Natalie, you see for the briefest moment, like, there was someone standing there next to him, like looking at him, and then there was the flash of white, and there's just like a puff of like ash in the air where they were. And just as quickly as you start to take in that view, the ash kind of dissipates and settles onto the floor, leaving just what looks to be like a small pile of soot and ash next to dear old Dad.
Daughters, Eminence, it is good to see you are well.
Eminence has immediately sunk down into like a deep curtsy as soon as he addressed anyone. And when she stands up, she doesn't really make eye contact with him. Like, she's kind of looking at his feet.
Yeah.
Father, I am well. Thank you.
Even like looking down, you feel his gaze shift directly towards you, and then as you continue speaking, deliberately shift off as he looks back at everyone else. those of you who see his face, his eyes do not have pupils or irises. They are just a solid, flat white. And it is immediately unnerving how you can see like the muscles in his face move as he moves his eyes, but even as his head like turns away, you can still feel the presence of his gaze directly upon you.
Still cavorting about the prime material, then?
In your honor. Yes.
Oriana.
And he starts to slowly walk towards the five of you.
It's wonderful to see you. Maybe some notice next time.
Was Irilith less than respectful?
At which point Irilith just bows and says 7 and vanishes.
Never. However, we had plans for the morning.
I see. And these mortals, are they companions for you? Or pets? I have some openings in the trophy hall.
I
And
wouldn't say companions.
at this point, he kind of stops 5 feet away from the rest of you. Normal distance for like a regular conversation, but the fact that he is 9 foot tall, your eye line is like his belly button with how tall he is. And he looks down at each of you.
It was so difficult for me to not say, why not both? So I waited for
Amazing.
why are we here?
This
It was made
He
almost like an emergency.
he takes another step closer towards Natalie, Bryn, and Aery. And one massive hand reaches out and just cups Bryn's chin and tilts it up. And he doesn't look at your face, he looks at your neck.
dragon
please.
spawn.
Reaches out a hand towards Aery and just very gently brushes Aery's shoulder.
Fey touched. Mortal. We've had this discussion, daughters. You can be more than,
And he waves a dismissive hand at the three of them.
these.
Just because I hang out with them doesn't mean I think I'm like them. And then she'll kind of realize who she's talking to and be like,
Have you give any thought to my previous request, Oriana?
Yes. But no decisions have been made.
Everyone can make an insight check as Mephistopheles takes a step back and turns and walks out towards the edge of the bubble to look.
I got a 10.
Nice,
24.
Bryn. I got a 6.
Am
I
I
don't-
checking or are they inside checking me?
No, you're inside checking him.
Yeah, 24, but Bryn is trying to actively not look near the whole head region, so...
He's currently facing away. He's sort of walked over to the edge of the bubble and is looking out.
Oh, okay.
Ass.
How's his ass? Like, you couldn't bounce like a single quarter. You could bounce like a roll, just like poof.
Man, this devil is caked the fuck up.
Aery's just gonna stay.
He said he had an opening for pets, I think. So.
Aery just pulls, like, looks in his accessory bag. I did pack a collar.
Just clicks with
He
him.
just hands him the leash.
Natalie and Oriana, what was your insight?
I only got an 8.
I got a 6.
And
I also got a
Eminence?
6. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So Bryn with a 24, was it?
24.
24? There is nothing in his face or his posture or how he moves or even what he says next that changes from that like perfect veneer of gentleman. But he did not like that answer.
He's just all but astral projecting at this point. Like, I am going to die, I am going to die, I am going to die.
They said that we shouldn't make him unhappy. I'm sure if it's his daughter, it's fine.
Oh, yeah, no, he definitely wouldn't just lash out at the people that his daughter brought with him. That'd never
Absolutely not.
happen.
That does not cross anyone's mind, especially someone with a low intelligence.
I mean, very
Since
polite, thank
we-
you.
Since we all got to insight check Meph, I like to insight check Oriana about what the fuck was going on with that question.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Make an
Because the
insight check.
second he asks her, like, have you made a decision? And Eminence's eyes are just like, what? What don't I know? 10.
10. Oriana, are you deliberately sidestepping the question by not talking about it, or are you deliberately being deceptive?
Not being deceptive, just sidestepping.
Okay, make a persuasion check for me.
I really want to go, oh, it didn't actually roll, it just bounced. But that's 4, but plus 6, and I'm bad at maths, but that's a 10.
That's a 10. That's matched. It's sisters, man. There's something, and you're going to get to the bottom of it, but you don't quite know yet. Yeah. You see his chest kind of expand a little bit as he gets ready to speak again, and then you hear kind of like a next to you, and standing there in the circle among the 5 of you, you see almost like a 7-foot tall spiked devil, bones and spikes coming out of everywhere, like out of the neck, out of the arms, just like these bones and ridges and shards ending in like these long talons, these claws that kind of scrape against the ice, and a really just big round pot belly as this devil appears holding what looks to be like an open leather sack of a material that looks a little uncomfortable, and reaches in and pulls out like a single like gold coin. Hi, what I miss? And takes the coin and just cracks it against his tooth. And the rest of you, if you see Mephistopheles, does not respond at all. He completely ignores the sound. But the individual kind of like looks at each of you one by one. Ha! The girls are back. Ah, Eminence, Oriana, it's good to see you. And kind of like chews a little bit on the coin. And as he chews on the coin, you see it briefly like flashes like a radiant white and then turns like this dull, tarnished, brassy, like rusty, brassy color and kind of chucks it down onto the ground. Oh, that one was a bit rough. And reaches in for another coin. What, y'all do any business while I was downstairs?
Eminence does not look at him, does not respond to him.
Wonderful to see you. No, nothing of consequence.
Ah, good. I'll make myself comfy then. And kind of walks over and sits down on like a sedan and just immediately kicks his feet up on the back of the chair and like props the bag on his pot belly and just grabs another coin and starts nibbling on it. Yeah. Mephistopheles turns and looks back at the five of you.
How long do you plan on running from your responsibilities?
Well, if I was given any response.
The head slowly turns and looks directly at you, Eminence.
Finish your sentence.
I could be of more use if I were entrusted with more responsibilities. Yeah.
He starts to slowly walk back towards the five of you.
Would you be willing to enact my desires upon the mortal planes in my name, Eminence?
That's the whole point of. Yes.
And he kind of like holds up a hand, and you see sort of burning into existence a contract. Your contract. And slowly he kind of pulls it out of the air and like unfurling magically, he pulls down on the bottom of the contract, and you can see that there's like more parchment that is just empty.
Would you like more responsibility?
Oriana's going to try really hard to catch Eminence's eye without drawing the attention of their father.
Ooh. What is that going to be? Is that going to be sleight of hand? Or performance? Or stealth?
I would desperately want it not to be stealth. But none of those are good options. I don't know, just like, you know, when you're looking at someone and you're like looking at them and you like, just hear my mental thoughts. Just, I don't even know what that would be.
Yeah, I would say wisdom? No, charisma. Give me... Oh, come on, load faster. Charisma. Give me, yeah, performance or persuasion.
25?
25. Oriana, you feel your sister like looking at you. She is thinking things, and she has got words and thoughts and feelings about this. Sorry, Eminence. Uh-oh, did we lose Eminence?
I think so. She's not moving.
I think
technical difficulties.
I was like, she's taking a really long time to think about this.
Yeah, I know. She also hasn't blinked in like 2 minutes. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about Mephistopheles while
his
you're at
ass.
it.
Aery wants to know.
He doesn't look like he has a shred of fat on him.
I believe it.
Yeah. I think he's not wearing like pants. It's sort of like a more open, like the devil kilt, basically, you know?
I
sort
thought
of
you were
like
going to
the
say
long-
he's wearing assless chaps. For a second.
They're not bad.
Yeah, they're not really pants. They're assless chaps.
Oh, you know, whenever you see like devils in traditional media, they have like not like a kilt, but like a longer like leather thing.
Yeah.
That I don't know how to describe. Hey,
Welcome back.
welcome
I'm
back.
gonna try.
We were just discussing Mephistopheles' appearance. You
And his
missed
assless chaps.
all of that. So
Not wearing assless chaps, it turns out.
Oh,
That would be very upsetting for his children.
no. See, but he's talking to you guys, and his ass is to us.
It's just for the guests.
yeah, it wasn't, but Aery slowly edged us around so that it was.
It was to get us to a safe position, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so he's wearing like that demon leather kilts that you see in like traditional media, and as you look down, he doesn't have shoes, he doesn't have feet. There are two cloven hooves sort of at the bottom, and you can see sort of like the multi-jointed ankle disappearing up. Yeah. So Eminence, I don't know where we lost you, but dear old dad unrolled the contract and showed like half of the parchment is blank, as if he could add something. However, as he sort of asked you this question, do you want more responsibility? Your sister made a very, very good performance check. I think it was 25.
Oh, good.
And she is daring daggers into you. Like from her periph, you can see that like she has thoughts about this. She has so many words, but by the nature of the conversation, she can't really tell them to you right now. So you're just sort of standing there as Dad holds the contract.
But you can absolutely tell that none of the thoughts are do it.
Right.
even one.
Yeah. I always am willing to enact your will. Anywhere that you ask me to, that I am.
A small smile just slowly grows. Not in a I'm proud of you way, but more so this pleases me way. And
How?
taking the nail of his right forefinger, he sort of makes a quick flourish across the page, and you see writing begin to carve itself across the parchment, and it slowly kind of expands, only 2 or 3 lines, not that much. And he rolls it up, and just as quickly as it appeared, it kind of vanishes.
Could I read it?
Make a perception check. He was about, I would say, like 8 feet away.
Just double checking my perception modifier. 11.
11. Something about eyes and you did see the words for Hellfire.
That's about standard.
And
Those words
once
appear in the
again,
contract a lot.
it sort of disappears away and looks back at Eminence, or sorry, at Oriana now.
She's trying to school the displeasure out of her face. It's probably not working very well. She's not going to say anything.
You can see that he seems to almost be silently and facelessly enjoying that.
Fey touched. Tell me your name.
You mean me?
The head turns and looks straight at you.
Yes.
My name is Aery.
Dragon spawn.
Brynjael.
Orc kin.
Nah, Natalie.
Do keep an eye on my daughters for me. It has come to my attention that you have been gaining powers.
And once again, the gaze turns and focuses back on Oriana.
As you gain in strength, I make you an offer. Should any of you have a desire to challenge Asmodeus and his influence on the mortal realm, you will be rewarded.
At which point, the individual sort of lying on the sedan kind of. And if you find it upon yourselves to interfere with the affairs of Mephistopheles, Asmodeus looks kindly upon those who enact his will. And slowly, Mephistopheles turns ahead at the individual in the sedan, who continues to just lounge there, pulls out another coin and cracks it. And once again, you can see it kind of like briefly flashes white and then goes this like sort of dull, rusty, gray bronze.
You must forgive the intruder to my domain.
And he sort of looks back at the five of you for a response.
Eminence, as always, pretends that that demon is not there, does not exist, and she cannot hear him.
Yep.
Oriana will smile just a teeny tiny bit.
A
But not in
smile
return.
from Oriana?
Little one.
The first time in the whole campaign.
That's not true. I think I've smiled like 3 times.
I will pull out my notes. Don't you worry.
I think she smiled when she beat Dragon Chairs.
True, actually.
Oh,
That would be true.
I don't know.
I actually think I actually smiled at that changeling wanker from last week as well, just a little. It's never been good reasons, really, except for Bryn.
How would we go about doing that if we were going to do it?
Looks over at you.
There are more direct methods.
And you can see that he holds out his hand, and once again, a blank parchment kind of slowly appears into the air next to him. And he clutches the bottom of it.
There are
And opens his hand, and it kind of sizzles into smoke and vanishes.
indirect methods.
Aery
You
genuinely
mortals.
thinking about letting this guy be his sugar daddy.
You mortals have such splendid imaginations.
Can only imagine what Aery's imagining.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is my father. She just said we're not related in this game. So
You know, I was going to make a comment that it's another to call him daddy. So, like, you know, it's.
There'll be 3 of us in this campaign calling him daddy.
Yeah.
We are on
Oh,
the
daddy
same
issues takes a
wave,
whole
right?
new level.
Oh boy.
if Oriana ever gets to a stage where she calls him daddy, she's begging. We're in lots of trouble. You don't want to hear that.
So's Aery. Sorry.
Aery doesn't need to be in trouble at all.
Just a slight derailment.
He answered your question. You can see that he kind of takes a slow breath and almost seems to like recenter himself a little bit, and then walks over towards one of the chairs and sort of sits down and crosses one hooked leg over the other and sort of leans back and steeples his fingers.
Tell me, have you found anything interesting on the mortal plane?
Eminence is definitely gonna look at Oriana again, like same look as when they found the picture of him with the interesting rock, and she looks kind of panicked. But I'm not lying if I don't say anything.
We've spent a little bit of time meddling in politics, I would assume, is the best way to put it. But nothing that I think would interest you.
I would hope your studies with Chocolatiers were coming in handy.
A little. It's been a lot of gallivanting through forests and honestly not much else. That was the appointment that we had in the morning, though.
To whom?
King, what's his fucking name? What is it? It starts with an A?
Arnold.
Arnold! It starts with an A. Of the
Hey,
name
Arnold.
of the city, insert here, because
You have no of your notes.
my notes are not that good.
Yeah.
My notes are not that good. Also, I take like 4 campaigns notes in this book, and I don't know where I'd find that. It's shit.
If you tell Valadair,
Valtaire!
if you tell him King Arnold, I'll jump in and be like, false king. A false king in many, many ways. Nothing worth any level of respect. But yes, a false king.
How so? This is an open conversation. You are my guest. Speak comfortably and freely.
Oriana's gonna shoot another look at everyone that's just like, carefully?
I feel like when someone says that, though, it's like that situation where someone says that to a group, but they're very specifically only talking to one person. You know? Like, they're not intentionally doing it, but it's definitely, I'm speaking with you, everyone else just happens to be here, and I'm just like, hey, it's all right if you speak up, but really, I just want to know what you think.
I was thinking more like when a gossipy person is like, you can tell me anything, but you can't.
That too.
Or when your boss is like, don't worry, you can be open. There's no judgment here.
Ugh.
This is a friendly workplace. We think of ourselves more like a family.
we're just chatting. This isn't a meeting. It's just two people having a chat.
All around bad vibes.
I have had those meetings. Ah!
It's painful.
We saw some guardians of a forest. Tree guardians.
Interesting. Tell me of the smoke. How did they smell when they burned?
I don't think we burned. Did we burn the one that we killed? I can't remember. Everything smelled like mint around them, though.
Hmm.
Do you like mint?
I dislike the Fae, though they can be useful.
Oh.
But to you, I mean, no offense.
Oh,
Maximum
it's okay.
offense
I'm not
intended.
like Faye, so I don't feel offended on their behalf.
He looks at you a little bit more closely.
I can see influences.
He kind of leans forward a bit and kind of props his knees, his elbows on his knees, and rests his chin on his fingers.
Do you wish to be free of these influences?
Oh no, I'm quite fine. It's fine.
Tell me of your parentage, Dragonkin.
I have parents. One is dead.
Kind of leans his head in like a, is that it?
I am not living at home and have not. Mom's fine.
At this point, you hear from the sedan over on the way, you don't have to be so careful. It's like when you see when you're walking around and you bump into a pit fiend. Really, they're just kind of big teddy bears. So he looks scary and he sounds scary, but you can say what you mean. It's just I feel like we're moving in circles here, Em. And Mephistopheles looks over and just says,
Mephistopheles.
I think
Brynjael was actually I think you're a knight, aren't you? She's trying to smooth over what just happened, and she gonna throw Bryn under the bus to do it. You could tell him about that.
do you actually shake your head no?
No, she's just like, as Amy is just like, she's a knight. Bryn's just like,
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yes, on my father's side, who was dead. Not much to tell.
The voice over from the sedan. Oh my god, I haven't even introduced myself. What am I doing over here? And he kind of stands up, and you can see like those husks of coins kind of like clattered down, and he just kind of leaves the bag on the sedan and walks over to Bryn, Aery, and Natalie and holds out like a massive spiky hand. I am so sorry. I am Martinet. I am a constable of Asmodeus. I'm just keeping an eye on the big guy here.
Okay.
It's very nice to meet you.
And you as well.
Shake your hand.
Well, yeah, that's what people usually do. I won't. There's no like contract or anything. That's the big guy upstairs, you know. Oh, well, downstairs. Sorry.
Okay, I just didn't know what customs are here. And Aery will shake his hand.
Oh, we're very accommodating once you get to know us. His hand is like uncomfortably warm. You get the sense that whatever magic accommodates people's internal temperature whenever they're within this palace, his is very high, and it's like almost on the verge of being too hot, but he lets go before it does start to burn. Like he seems to be conscious of that and goes over to Natalie and holds out a hand. Oh, look at the guns on you, huh? I'm sure you could swing a weapon.
Swing, throw, I suppose. And she'll shake his hand also.
Yep.
But she'll
Again,
like hold it for that extra second, you know? Even if it does start to sizzle,
yeah.
she's like, nah.
He does kind of like try to release a little bit and is surprised when you don't fully let go. And oh, hey, all right. Claps your hand twice and sort of pulls his hand away. This one's got guts. Walks over to the catatonic Bryn. Kind of like holds out a hand for a moment. And then
She like reflex just because it's like a courtesy thing, like extends her hand, but as soon as she does it, she's just like kind of like fuck, like muscle memory, like someone extends a hand, she's like, oh yeah, nice to meet you, kind of thing.
He just gives like a one quick shake and lets go.
Yeah.
And Mephistopheles. Where were we? And Martinet actually, oh no, the person who he's going to ask is walking away.
Well, I was going to mention...
She's coming back.
Oh.
Never mind, she went somewhere else.
I was gonna say, I believe that we were talking about the capabilities of your daughter's companions.
A good memory. Show me what you can do.
And he kind of like holds out a hand to his left, and from the floor of the ice, you see like the ice almost slowly begin to like twist and melt and shape itself up into basically like a what's it? Scarecrow sort of thing. Just this ice-shaped humanoid kind of standing there. And the torso is just like one solid pillar.
That's a weird image.
I mean, it just came out of the floor. And he's asking you to destroy it, basically.
Makes sense.
Or at the very least, show him what you can do.
I'm trying to decide if Natalie would do it just to save everyone else from having to go first, but also I don't know that she would go first as a kind of a show of like trying to be cool in this situation, so I'm very torn.
Go on, Natalie, do something awesome.
And she'll just look to Aery and just like, all right. So I guess she approaches this kind of like, I guess this looks like a dummy thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't really have anything to do with it. Does it look like it's on a wooden pole?
No, it's ice. Like out
ice.
of the
Sorry.
floor. Yeah,
Yes.
It's solid ice.
She'll maybe go to, let's say, like, kick the top to try and, like, lop the equivalent of its head off. With a kick. And whoop.
Yeah. Go ahead and take it.
I'm just trying to find where it is in D&D Beyond. Actions, that's the one. let's see how this goes. That's all right. So it's an 18 to hit.
18 hits. Give me melee attack damage.
I think it's just a flat 5 with unarmed. Supposedly.
Okay. Yeah, so you go up and you just bring your leg up and kick the head, and it doesn't like go flying off, but it kind of like cracks in, and you can see it like indents a little bit. And your form was good enough that kicking a solid block of ice did not break your leg or hurt. You were able to like brace it correctly with the right muscles and sort of pull back. Yeah.
At least I didn't go for my hand. They're much weaker.
Yeah. You crunch into it, and at that point, Martinet has kind of walked back over to the sedan and kind of, oh, all right. Mephistopheles still in the enormous chair.
Is that a fucking challenge?
Looks.
Get out of here, you 9-foot tall horn dude.
Yeah. Looks to Aery and Bryn and Oriana and Eminence. And as he does, he kind of twists his fingers a little bit, and you can see that the head clicks back into place, and the ice starts to melt back into like a basic shape.
Aery is quite strong for a water. Like, you'd
Sorry.
be surprised. Aery, some of your spells, you could... Surely, come on.
Just blew my nose, sorry.
I'll walk out and I will cast lightning bolt.
Okay. Well, because it's an ice mannequin, it cannot move, so it does not succeed the dexterity saving throw, so go ahead and roll damage.
$37 points of damage. Lightning.
Awesome. Yeah. You pull back and let loose this massive bolt of lightning that strikes across the room right into the basically the heart, the upper left of the torso, and the arm and the shoulder just explode off into shards of ice. There's like this almost like laser of where the ice kind of melted from the heat and proximity of the lightning, and the lightning bolt actually passes through the mannequin and hits the solid wall window out in the back. And when it hits the window, it actually stops. And after the lightning bolt kind of like fades and dissipates, you see that the window is completely untouched.
Aery is very happy with that and lets out like a little sound of glee before remembering where he is.
You see, they can be quite useful. I mean, as much as they can be.
Impressive.
At which point Martinet says, "Hey, Ori, how are things with Tempest? How you got any more things from him?" And pulls another coin out of the bag and.
I do not feel like playing your game, Martinet.
No, we're not playing a game. I'm just curious. You had an interest, and I took an interest in your interest.
Yes, Oriana. How are things with Tempest?
Fine.
Oh, what are you doing with this fine? Come on. He must have given you something.
Very
I mean,
annoyingly nothing that I can use today.
there's got to be something you can show. Oh, here, no, come on, don't worry, I got you. And reaches into the bag and pulls out a coin and walks over. Come on, take a bite. It'll top you right up. So the two of you would recognize these. You are familiar with this. These are soul coins. Souls that get sent to hell but do not transition into devils or become lemures or anything else end up becoming processed into these coins, which act not only as currency but also fuel. Individual devils and other creatures can break a coin and consume the soul's essence, and that's basically like a full heal, full rest, the whole shindig. That said, whenever a coin is consumed or used, the soul within ceases to exist. So in hell, the soul's a soul. But perhaps as mortal Oriana. That said, he kind of holds it here in front of you. This will top you right up.
The problem is less that. The problem is the spells that I had chosen for the day. None of them are a lot of fun. What is Martinet classified as? He's a barbed devil. Is he a fiend?
Yes, he is a bone devil, is what it's called.
In which case?
Or no, he's a Spinagon? A spine devil? No. I just had it open and now I've lost it. Yeah, he is a fiend. He is a devil.
In which case, she's gonna spend a minute casting Magic Circle and then pop him right in the middle of it.
You cast Magic Circle?
Mm-hmm.
Where is he?
It's a 10-foot radius, 20-foot tall cylinder, which means he can't get out. If he decided to attack, there's a whole load of other stuff, but it's not like a damage thing. It's literally just a, fine, I put you in a box.
Wait, so you just put him in a circle?
Well, I've got to spend a minute casting the circle, but I'm going to focus it around where he is.
Yeah. I just want to take a look at it real quick. What was it? Magic Circle?
It's a 3rd level abjuration spell.
Yes. Magic Circle. Radius 20-foot tall cylinder. Glowing runes appear. Choose one or more of the following types of creatures: elementals, fae, fiends, or undead. Creature cannot willingly enter the circle. If the creature tries to teleport, it must first succeed. Is disadvantage. Creature within the
you
circle.
Can cast it in reverse to trap him inside. So.
I see. Okay. Yeah, you take a couple of minutes and Martinet is just like, oh yeah, I see what you're doing here with this. Just watching and commentating. You see Mephistopheles has like leaned back and is observing until the circle glows up and Martinet inside. Oh yeah, this is pretty good. This is kind of walks over and touches the sign. Ooh, that's spicy. Zoom. At which point Mephistopheles kind of leans forward a little bit. Anti-fiend magic. And he smiles at you knowingly.
Can be used for other things.
It can.
It unfortunately isn't soundproof.
And he just kind of snaps his fingers and immediately casts the silence spell on top of the magic circle. Martinet is like, I mean, it's good. I'm still a part of the... Zoom. And starts like poking at the bubble, basically. You can see that they're getting a little bit annoyed.
That's gonna get an actual big, genuine smile. Which is probably kind of creepy to everybody else.
I am impressed, Oriana?
Eminence isn't so much creeped out as pissed off.
Have you found anything that could be of use against him?
No.
And the entire time the two of you were talking, Martinet inside of the bubble is like, just like moving around. Make a deception check.
I don't know if it's really deception because I genuinely personally can't think of anything he'd want. There's like fireworks that cause disease.
An evil rock?
I don't know how we weaponize the evil rock yet, so I don't think it counts, but I will still roll. Oh my god, that's a nat 20.
Nat 20 for a total of?
I just got to scroll. Deception, it's 23.
23. He looks at you. And his head slowly turns to Oriana.
Eminence or Ori?
Eminence. Damn it. Every time! Every time! I didn't have any of this trouble while I was doing all of the prep for this session. I have pages of notes where your names never got mixed up. Oh my god.
Like, it's not a session until it happens.
I mentioned also that you've called us twins twice, and we're not.
Yeah, sorry, we're sisters.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well,
I think like a 6-year age gap.
I think most of the devils just do it colloquially, perhaps because they know that it irritates you.
Oh yeah, we would hate it.
Yeah, that's fair.
As she said, I don't think there's anything that would be nearly powerful enough for you to find useful.
So you don't need to make a deception check because you told the truth as far as you know it. But you can very plainly see across his face that he knows what you're doing. Fine. And sort of waves his hand and the silence spell disappears. Martinet. And I swear to A down below that you are going to hear the... Sorry. I lost my temper there. Can I go sit down?
Yes. I will drop it. I'm just trying to figure out if I need to do anything to drop it. I don't think I do.
Yeah, you can just let it fall.
Yeah, it just goes away.
Yeah, it vanishes. And he kind of like had his finger on it and it was sizzling and then kind of falls through. That is very impressive. Now, what did you all talk about? I saw your lips moving.
Nothing of consequence. It was just nice to have some quiet.
Oh? And what was with the... I was so nice to you when you were a little kid. And he like starts walking over to the sedan and plops himself down and just cracks a coin in his mouth.
You really should just be grateful that I casted it at 3rd level. I could have kept you in there for an hour.
Could have kept you in there for an hour.
Well, I have prior engagements. You know the way out.
And at that, he stands up and just like vanishes in a gout of flame, leaving the 5 of you in the room with Martinet. He does that every time. He never tells me where he goes. You know that? and picks up the bag of coins, leaving just like bent and tarnished coins littering the sedan. Walks over to the circle. It is good to see the two of you. I mean, you look like you've grown up a little bit. Your horns are really coming in nice, Emmy. They're really looking like dad's. Yeah. All right, well, if you're not going to say anything, then... And he just vanishes in the glyphs, leaving the five of you alone in this ice and crystalline sitting room. Warm fireplace crackling behind you.
Bryn, we didn't die.
Yet. And
Can we
she's
go
just
home
like
now?
cold as eyes stare towards the two sisters. No, she's not smiling anymore. Now that there's none of the other devils present.
I suppose none of you are interested in staying the night before we go home.
Absolutely not.
Honestly, it's really not that bad. But
You know that the sisters know that the guest chambers do accommodate all races, species, fae, fiend, celestial, the whole gamut. So there would be suitable chambers for everyone.
Do you want to stay
We actually had that meeting that we were supposed to be going to. So, I mean, perhaps I would love to show you around. I think you'd find the accommodations quite impressive, actually. But I think we should probably head back.
At
it
about
was like
that point-
teleportation isn't instantaneous, Emmy.
At that point, as you're sort of having this conversation, you feel the floor beneath you kind of like shudder a little bit and then stop. And the sisters, the two of you, know that Dad's not in a good mood.
We should go.
Okay, let's go then. Hurry, let's go. I'm sure we all enjoy this very much, but yes, definitely should go home. We have so many important things to do.
Would Eminence know whether the what's it, like, elevator, for lack of a better word, will operate if
Yeah.
anyone? Yeah, all right. So she'll say an infernal, just like first floor.
Yep. And the five of you, once again, like tapestry just coming down. Again, it's the same thing. The tapestry falls down, but you appear back in that entrance hallway, and sort of leaning back against one of the pillars, kind of tapping his feet, is Irilith, looks up. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, damn. I had money that he would take one of you at least. If not the Fey one, then the dragon. Sorry, orcs are a bit standard.
Sorry to spoil your fun.
Shall we... you're not staying the night?
No, he's not in the best mood.
Oh,
We have
I
all
heard.
of them now. May not have them all in the morning.
You know he doesn't usually fry guests. Did he call you guests?
Cold comfort for the guests.
Important question. Did he call you guests?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, yeah, then you're like 97% fine.
Unfortunately, we're like so busy back at home, so we should go.
Fair enough. Where is home?
The inn that you found us at, please.
Oh, that old dump? Are you sure? I could take you to
Unfortunately, yes.
Sigil.
Well,
City of Grass is lovely
nothing
this time of
there.
year.
I'd love to see it, but our things are there.
Hmm.
Next time?
I could go and get your things. I'm telling you, the city of Brass is lovely at this time of Inferno.
We wouldn't want to trouble you. It's okay. We do have appointments, but next time.
I'll
It's
hold
good to
you
see you
to
again.
that. Yes, your horns are a bit more,
Like Dad's, I know.
I was going to say menacing, but yeah, I see it. Yeah. And Oriana, still on with the cleric thing. How's that been
Yes.
going?
It's fine. It's fine.
You're saying it's fine, but you're making a face like it's not fine.
The Tempest situation is fine. The being asked constantly how it's going, a little bit less so.
All right. How are you then? I'm trying to. How are
I'm good.
you, Oriana? Good, good, very good. And the rest of you still alive and good? You didn't melt your brains or anything?
I
You
don't think so.
don't need to. We know that you're here for them. We're alive.
He's nice.
It is pleasant to be spoken to like we're not, going to die here.
Almost like
You're
we're
not going
not
to die here.
companions.
You're not going to
Oh.
die here.
No one really dies here. Well, often.
She's just going to look at Oriana like, that's not helping.
They do have a point. If anything, they spend a certain number of years in the cells downstairs. But don't worry, after a certain time, I understand that you stop feeling because of the ice. But you have appointments. Come, let's. I'll take you to the circle. And he starts walking down the hall towards the teleportation circle, out sort of on the plateau where you first came in.
Eminence is going to kind of like speed up a little bit so that she's walking alongside of him in front of the others.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And she'll pull out her little tin of chocolates with her special little cooling tin and just kind of like show it to him. Just be like, we got this in Valaterre. It's quite good. Here, try some.
Oh, and he sort of takes a bite. As he puts it on his tongue, immediately you see that it begins to like sizzle a little bit. Oh, it's melty. You mortals
Good,
and your sense of taste. You know, for not being a soul, it's quite good. Do they have chocolate-covered souls by any chance? If I could bring a coin, could they cover it in chocolate?
I could
know what?
try to do that for you.
Wait right here. And he just vanishes, leaving the five of you alone. And there's just like a little wisp of smoke for a moment.
She'll kind of laugh as if she's like, huh, he does this all the time. Like, I expected him to do that.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
And then about 15 or 20 seconds later, he just reappears in just like a gout of flame. And you can see that he has like a small coin purse, but the coins inside of the bag you can see are clearly like a little bit larger, similar to the size of coins that Martinet had upstairs. Just for me. And kind of tucks the coins into his pocket. Sorry, to the portal. And walks back over to the teleportation circle. Any final hurrahs or farewells or anything before we push off, as it were?
Ari's gonna put a hand on his shoulder, the way that she does when she's pretending that it counts as a hug, and just be like, thank you. No.
Not even a souvenir?
I got him one.
Out of character, I know, and I legit had exactly the same idea. And now I don't know what to do. Which is why he's
Fuck
getting
you.
a shoulder pat hug, because I was like,
He
"Hey,
loves
this is
me
lovely."
more. No, he likes me more. Sorry. I'm the favorite.
Oh yeah, his
Well,
favorite.
maybe if we head somewhere warmer, we can warm up this one's frozen demeanor. Ha! And like points at Bryn. Nothing. Okay, well, and just sort of waves his hand, and there's just this rippling sensation as you feel yourselves torn through time and space. And with a doom, 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 your feet land on the solid, warm, hardwood. And for the first time in probably like an hour, hour and a half, you can feel like the ambient temperature of the air around you. And you can smell sort of like this warm firewood smell and some soft leather coming from older chairs nearby you. And you find yourselves at the entrance to the Golden Tankard. At which point you also hear, "Oh, Christ! Ah! You can teleport!" And looking over, you see Ascat is kind of like half stumbled over. Ah, that's new. Who's your friend? And Irilith just says, "Leaving. A pleasure," and turns and walks out the door, looks up at the night sky, and starts whistling as he starts walking off into the night. Well, that was very rude.
As soon as they've like arrived and after his left, Bryn also leaves and walks purposefully the opposite direction that he starts walking down. And she's just fucking gone. Like she's striding just
Oh, you're just walking down
away.
the street?
She's heading to the edge of the city, yeah.
Okay. What? Sorry. Drinks?
No, I need to go lie down. You know, Emmy, or your house was so nice. I hope we can visit again soon. Goodbye.
I may see more of the city air also. And she'll head off after Bryn.
Is it definitely the same day? Bless you.
It appears to be nighttime. Ah!
Poor DM.
Oh no, Dee's allergic to the nighttime.
Yeah, looking up at the stars and the moon up above, you can see that maybe only an hour or two has passed since you left.
Well, he didn't do the weird time thing, so that's helpful. Why do you think that they're mad, aren't they?
I missed the rest of the sentence after. Why do you think? I don't.
Sorry. I said they're mad, aren't they?
Oh. Well, yes, it would appear so.
I mean, we kind of, like, I know we didn't tell them who he was, but I told them that he was important, and they know that we're important, and I don't know why they're so surprised.
I'm not certain that they took our importance as quite as dramatic as it is.
Did she actually do air quotes?
Yep.
You know, one of these days you're going to have to start taking things seriously again, and whatever this is that you're doing, it's...
I feel if you ask literally any of our companions, none of them would say that I'm not serious.
Well, maybe I know you better than them.
Perhaps.
just don't know why you insist on upsetting him.
I think he'd be very confused if I started being obedient now.
No, too late.
I think you could do with taking it all a little bit less seriously.
And she'll kind of look around and realize that they're in public and lean in really close and whisper, "Is he a lord? How? What do you mean less seriously? What is more? You realize that seriously."
So I'll say that as the two of you were having this conversation, Ascat kind of got the idea that he wasn't welcome. So he kind of did like the
sister business.
Yeah.
As he's walking off, Oriana will actually call him back just quickly and be like, Ascat, did you find our note?
The one on the back of the door.
Yes. If you did, you can disregard that, provided...
He kind of like pulls it out of a pocket, and you can see that he reads it for the first time. Oh, sorry. Folds
Not
it up.
a problem, as things have turned out.
You get letters on your door sometimes late at night, and it's a big old thing. It's usually I say it's a tomorrow problem, but it was a today problem tonight. Tell you what, I'll get you a drink. It's on me. And wanders back behind the bar.
Well, I guess we're drinking. And Demi will go and have a seat somewhere, hoping that Ori will join her.
She will.
Yeah, it is pretty late at night at this point. It's probably around like 10 or 11 o'clock. There are no other people eating or drinking. Most of the torches and candles have been put out on the lower floor, but Ascat brings over drinks for the two of you and makes sure that it remains like well lit enough, and sort of a couple of candles on the table. And after a moment, kind of thinks about it and walks back behind the bar and just grabs the bottle and just sets it down between the two of you and says, sorry, that's from the establishment. If you need anything, knock. And he kind of walks over towards the kind of like employer quarters are. Closes the door, leaving the two of you alone.
So,
how long do you think we should wait before we go attempt to find the others?
I imagine they'll come back in their own time.
There's probably nothing more dangerous out there than they've just faced tonight.
I don't understand what they're so angry about.
It might not be anger. It might be fear.
Jealousy.
No, I really don't think it's jealousy. I really don't think that it's jealousy.
I mean, I suppose I wouldn't blame them if they were afraid now.
I have to be honest, I did not think we would be with this party for as long as we have been. So I did not think about the consequences of... My dog is screaming in the background, I'm real sorry. About the consequences of not being so upfront about our parentage.
I mean, it's not like we could have been. Do you think they'll leave?
I would hope not.
I mean, not that I'd
find out if they come back.
True. I mean, I'd be fine if they left. It's not like it's a problem.
Yes, of course.
What?
the dog screaming is just coming from, like, it's emanating from around where Bryn, the direction that she walked in, just this high pitched.
Emmy's going to take a really.
Ooh.
Sorry, Emmy's going to take a really like long drink.
Yeah, if it's quieting down, so that is also what Oriana will do. I'm going to pick up this dog.
So sad.
Oh,
She's so sad. And Mo went to pick her up and she ran away.
My dog does that.
amazing. There.
Baby. Yeah, the girls spend a good. We drink a bit. I think. I don't think much more is said.
Fair enough. Bryn and Natalie. Bryn, you walked out first onto the street, but I would say Natalie, you only went out just like 20 seconds later. If you'd like, you can catch up to Bryn, or I imagine you see her walking off, and you get the sense you could probably catch up to her.
I think it's more, she's not necessarily making herself like stealthed, but she'd be following close enough that she can still have her space, but kind of more in a like, you know, we are still in a foreign city and that we've not been to before, and there are plots on the kingdom and such, you know, like going off alone, maybe not wise, but also she needs a moment, you know? Everyone just needs a bit of a moment.
Yeah, Bryn, you hear someone walking behind you, and you're pretty easily able to turn and see that Natalie is also kind of giving you a respectable distance as the two of you feel the fresh, cool night air. Breeze blows across, and there's just this slightest hint of mint in the air, reminding you of the forest further to the south. Not in like the heady sort of way from further in the forest, but just like ambiance.
I know, but every time you say mint, it's like a thing in my brain is like,
Hey, bullshit. And the night is yours. Is there anything you would like to do? Any place you would like to go?
Yes, I think Bryn, she wouldn't have turned, even if she acknowledged and heard Natalie behind her, she is just single purpose. Like, whatever is the fastest route to get out of the city to the edge of the forest, that is where she's walking.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a long walk to get to the edge of the forest. I think we made it canon that it was like half a day.
Oh, okay.
But
Well,
in the
out, like
forest
not like
moving.
necessarily like the full forest, but out of the densely populated, like civilized
Yeah.
area into, like, you know, when it's like a meadow
greener-
meets a forest, where it's like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
start
yeah.
getting more trees. It's like not
Yeah.
the full forest, but like
Yeah,
and some
out
grass
of-
and stuff.
there's like
Absolutely.
enough trees. It's like from at any point that you would call it, it's more nature than city. Like it's out of the walls
Yeah.
kind of thing. That's her purpose.
I would say it probably takes you about 30 to 40 minutes heading out and like south and from your location. Yeah. You would be heading south west. Boy, that was tough. But you do make your way out towards the edge of the city, and here the houses are much further spaced apart. This is sort of adjacent to when you were first coming in, the fields and farms to the north. And while these aren't like active farms, you do come across what looks like an apple orchard. Just large trees planted in rows, like bright red apples sort of glinting under the moonlight that shines through.
Yeah, she goes and finds like the densest little like thicket of them,
Mhm.
and she just sits down at the base of one, takes her shoes off, like takes her hair down, and just like buries her feet in the soil, and is just kind of hugging her knees, just sitting under this tree.
Yeah.
I'd imagine Natalie sees you do that and is like we're still within like talking distance, maybe like a couple of meters out into a space where you can like see the sky a little, and she just plonks herself back down, like arms wide, like just looking directly up into the sky. She won't say anything.
After a little while, once Bryn kind of feels more at ease, kind of being back on like that real heavy affirmation, we're back on the prime material now, like kind of that found the most tentative form of zen possible at the moment. She's going to pull out from her inner pocket her holy symbol, and just be like cupping it, looking at it.
It glints in your hand. Yeah, so it's... I imagine it is sort of like a small silver disc on which is engraved, sort of like that reverse engraving where it's kind of like gouged out. A single leaf at the base and the stem of which of this sort of like leaf is a small acorn right next to it. And as you kind of hold it in your hand and feel it with your fingers and turn it left and right, the starlight and the moon fill the different cavities and reflect across your face. And it feels comfortable in your hands.
She's just gonna brace on her knees and like bury her face in her arms, and she's just like full crying now, like not audible, like but just full tears, just like yeah, that checks out, and just like is like actually letting herself process now, and it's just like Natalie would be able to tell, but it's not like she's not like sobbing, but it's the heavy breathing, kind of like raspy breathing kind of thing.
I would imagine that she absolutely would have no idea how to respond to someone crying. So instead, she's gonna like... It's part of her like wanderer thing, Outlander, I think it's called, like the background feature that she kind of knows like how to get places. She's gonna kind of like, instead of doing anything actually kind of useful, and she's just gonna start like getting a stick and like drawing like constellations into the soil from like what she sees above her as just like a thing to pass the time.
Yeah.
Just like letting her have a moment, but like...
Roll a d20 for me.
Oh, sure. That's caught. That one also is... Ooh, that's a 10, exactly.
A 10, okay. The constellation that catches your eye is the Sash of Lilia. This is just sort of like a strip of 6 stars that, according to the full constellation, is a sash worn across the chest of the an individual known as Lilia, who her story is basically she went out on an adventure and saw great and crazy and amazing things and learned so many things about the world and about herself, and at the end decided she was done and went back home. But when she got back home, realized that she had changed so much on her adventure that she felt more at home
adventuring. So she basically took this sash and just hung it up at her home and left and went back out.
That's really cute. She will continue to draw, and I think like internally she's probably imagining kind of like how someone who she could imagine the mirroring in Bryn, I would imagine. Like, you know, she's lost one of her parents. She still has a mother. She has a strong sense of adventure, but like there's just she could go one way or the other. It's like an ode to her as opposed to like without outwardly saying anything, because communication is key, but not in this particular circumstance.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my sinuses.
That's okay.
Yeah. So the two of you spend some time in silence in this orchard.
After probably like, I don't know, 15 minutes seems like a good amount of time to have a good hard cry. And Bryn has like calmed down and her breathing's normal. She'll just like kind of, she won't fully lift her head back up, but just like when you're like leaning up over your arms and just like look over the constellations that Natalie's been drawing and like looking up and then looking back down at them, and she'll just softly say, You're very talented, Natalie.
Nah. I'm just drawing in the dirt. And you can see like she's definitely she's doing the whole like I'm gonna start a sentence. Nope. That thing where you don't really know what to say next.
All right, I think I'm done. Probably check on Aery. You know, she's doing all right.
Yeah, that's probably a good plan. Are you feeling okay to get up?
It is a fiddle. Fine, let me put my shoes back on.
Sure. And while she's like fumbling with her shoes, Natalie will like she does that thing where she like looks back again. She's like gonna say something. She looks back at the ground. She's like, So, do you know anything about stars?
Bits and pieces, not really my level of expertise, but a good guiding point.
Cool. Well, these ones are. It's kind of funny. These ones are Lilia's sash. They kind of tell a bit of a story. Old stars kind of tell a bit of a story. Tells a story of a girl who left her home for adventure to grow and live a little. And then she did that for many years, came back, returned to her home, and she changed. You know, she'd grown a bit past the life that she'd led before. And so she found that she was more comfortable adventuring. So she hung her sash in her home, which is this, and she continued adventuring. I think to some degree, I don't read palms like Aery does. She seems kind of like you. I don't know. It seems kind of fitting, and plus, there's always this kind of connection that Alia's sash usually means home. We're back. We're home. Not permanent home, don't get me wrong. Not particularly keen on living in a apple tree field, but more in a grander sense.
I think that you can find a sense of home wherever you go. You know, if it's in the right place. And she'll just kind of like tap over Natalie's heart. But I left home so that I could help people. I don't know if I can do that with them anymore.
I understand. It was really hard to stand there while they're just you understand, you were there.
Yes. Don't get me wrong, I like ice a lot, but phew, that was a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely an extreme. And as much as I'd love to turn around and just write it all off. We've spent a lot of time with them. They helped us do this. They helped us take this rock that was hurting everything, and they helped us deal with it. Not in a malicious way or some way of helping them with some devil versus devil thing that the coin man was on about. I think there's something more here.
I don't know if you've ever experienced something that lets you see the intention or essence or aura of a person. Emmy maybe, but Oriana, there's something going on. And you are a good person. I like to think that I'm a good person. Aery is chaotic, but I think ultimately very good. And I don't know if I can say the same about Oriana.
You could definitely be onto something there, but she also did turn down whatever it was that her father offered her. She stood in the face of that thing and said no. Plus, I've seen people before who have done horrible things for the sake of enjoyment. And while Oriana does give that vibe a little, I think her personal investments don't tend to tie as much to wanton torture as Well, apparently what her father does.
Well, at the very least, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's the way that we could look at it. And she's like, she doesn't want to push it anymore because she doesn't know if Natalie understands, but she's just still so vividly recalling, because it's only been like an hour, like, well,
Yeah.
after the big cry, but it's been like less than a day. And so she's thinking of the detect good and evil before they got teleported away. And she'll just like elbow Natalie and start walking back. Kept them
Sure.
waiting enough.
Yeah. They're probably wondering where we are, hey. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, let's maybe go.
Okay. The two of you head back to the Golden Tankard. Aery. What is Aery up to? The party gets back. Bryn just leaves. Natalie follows a short while later. Aery goes upstairs and the girls get a drink. But what does Aery do?
I can't remember if Aery was sharing with Eminence. I think she was, but he was. So he probably would have locked the door. But
Oh no!
but like obviously she has a key as well, so like
Yeah.
so that she can't get in. But he would have locked the door, and he would have gone and like sat down and taken out like a mirror and just like stared at himself, and not a vain way for a change, but just like sort of taking stock of like all the Fae features that he was given and just like thinking about it. So I think he doesn't really think about that very much, and he isn't often reminded of it either, that like he was changed so much. So yeah, he's just like doing that, and then I think when he gets tired of that, he's just gonna like lie in bed and just like just like think about the day.
Do the thing where you lie like perfectly flat and stare at a single point on the ceiling.
Yeah, just like hands by the sides. It's like a fucking corpse. Just like
Yeah. Yeah, you looking at yourself, you see how your eyes are slightly larger and a little bit longer. Your cheekbones are slightly higher up than what you remember. You can even like look at your ears and see that your ears are just a little bit more elongated and pointed. And it's easy to see how if anyone looked at you, they would assume either half elf or like perhaps even a full elf. But you also see it's not constant, the color of your eyes. When you look at your eyes, you see the color that was given to them, but every now and again, and you can never like purposefully duplicate it, if the light catches it just right, you get a glimpse of their original color. And then you try to turn back and catch the exact same light, and they stay the same. They don't change. They don't show what they were. And lying there in bed.
terrified and confused because man hot.
Uh-oh. Yeah. I'll if the sisters are still awake, I would say probably about 2, maybe 2.5 hours later, they would still be at the table to see Bryn and Natalie come in. But if not, then Bryn and Natalie return to an empty tavern.
It was just, what was it a bottle of? Was it like just like wine or whiskey? Because wine
Just
would
red
be
wine.
over with.
So it was a bottle of red wine, but if Ascat made themselves available.
Emmy doesn't want to be hungover tomorrow. So she'll finish share the bottle of wine with Ori and then head upstairs. I'm imagining that would have happened before the other two got back.
Yeah. When you get to the door, you try the handle and the door is locked.
She'll just kind of she tries the handle, and when she finds it locked, she's surprised by how much her heart kind of sinks. But then she quickly just sort of pretends that that's not happening and gets her key out, unlocks the door. She'll come in and just kind of close the door behind her, but just basically still standing in the doorway in what I'm assuming is a dark room. Aery, are you awake?
Aery's an elf, so he doesn't sleep.
She doesn't understand what this meditation bullshit is. She's he closes his eyes for a while most nights.
But yeah, he'll take a couple seconds and be like, I'm awake.
Is it okay if I stay here?
He'll sit up and be like, what do you mean? Of course it's okay. This is your room.
Okay. And then she'll go and sit on her bed and just kind of flop backwards. So you're not mad at me?
Why would I be mad at you?
Right. I mean, yeah, of course.
This is terrifying, and your dad is even more terrifying, and I'm sad that you never showed me a picture of him. But you didn't do any of that. I mean, you did imply that we weren't really your friends, or that we didn't mean anything to you, but I kind of understand sometimes you just got to lie, right? You were lying, right?
I think it's safer for all of you if I don't act like you're my friends around my dad.
I mean, that's what I assumed, so no reason to be mad. Are you okay, though?
I'm fine. No, it wasn't really. It's always like that there. It really wasn't a big deal. I mean, I'm fine being there because it's my home, and I'm his daughter. It's not he's going to do anything to me ever. He loves me, so I just was worried that you'd it's a lot to deal with for someone who wasn't raised in that kind of I understand if you're mad that I didn't tell you I just get it. I know it's a lot, but I don't want you to think that I think I'm better than you just because of I'm glad you're not mad at
a
me.
king of hell or whatever.
Exactly.
Yes, well, you're not better than me, so don't think it. And just to clarify, he is just saying that playfully and not to be a huge dick.
She'll laugh like he told a joke. Well, I'm glad you're not mad.
What do you think you signed up to do when your dad wrote that contract?
I've already told him that I am going to do my best to be a good daughter. So I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So.
You do this thing sometimes where when you don't want to answer a question, and then you say something stupid that's not true, and you just did that. You can actually tell me what you mean. I know you didn't sign a contract that says, I'll be a good daughter. What does it mean? What are you doing for him? And you can actually tell me. I probably won't be mad unless it's like destroying everything.
It's not destroying everything. Look, sometimes they're just... Sometimes they're... I think I'm going to,
Emmy,
I'm going
just tell me. And then you won't have to apologize for not telling me later.
I don't know what exactly he wants me to do. I didn't exactly get to read it.
Isn't that kind of a big deal?
Well, I don't see why. Like I said, I'm his daughter. Okay, some things are just a bit beyond the understanding of certain like planes, and some things are bigger. Some things are bigger than that. So you wouldn't understand. It's just you don't need to worry about. I don't want you to worry about me.
I mean, okay, let's pretend that I'm not worried about you, but like, I don't want to like make assumptions because he's like the Lord of Hell, which is generally speaking perceived as like bad. But do you think that it's possible that maybe he wants you to do really bad stuff?
Look, you're my friend, but I don't need your help.
I'm not offering your help. I just want an answer.
It would be safer for you if you didn't.
Okay, if you say so. But just so you know, if you need it, I'm going to help you whether you like it or not. So be safe though,
Emmy
okay?
has nothing to say to that, so she just kind of like, when you roll over to like face away from the person, like just really, she's really angrily though, and she'll like move her pillow and kind of like punch it into place.
Good night, Eminence. And Aery will lie down again, too.
Excellent. Oriana. Emmy has gone to bed. Who are you sharing a room with?
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure.
We haven't been back to this tavern since
In weeks.
Yeah, what's his face disappeared, and one of us was sharing with him, and I don't know who that was.
Last it was Aery, Emmy, and Bryn were in a room, and you were sharing with Natalie.
Right, okay.
I thought here though we had because we had the interconnecting rooms because we chucked all the beds into the other room. It was Bryn and Natalie in a separate room. Then we had Aery was sharing with someone, and then Eminence and Oriana. But you had the interconnecting ones, so you guys just like.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of a different place we stayed at.
I'm pretty sure right. Emmy was staying in the same room as Lily, as Eridan, because she was mad at Aery for like some kind of jewelry, something.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the sleeping arrangements here I think are like pretty fluid.
Yeah. Okay. You can pick and choose.
I don't know how we'll communicate that this is the room that Oriana has taken, but she's very happy to be by herself tonight.
Okay. Then Bryn and Natalie, you return to find an empty tavern. You see that there's like a knock for service sign on Askat's door. But by the time you get back, it is like 1:30 in the morning. It is late. The two of you head up to your room. Anything you want to do, or bed? Bed.
Donk directly into the bed.
Yeah.
Go ahead and mark off a long rest
And also, congratulations everyone on getting level 8 for not pissing off Mephistopheles. That
Nice.
may not have been a combat encounter, but it was tense. And I think we will pick up with the session tomorrow morning. Well, next week, the session will pick up with tomorrow morning when you go to see the king and then on. But I think this is a good place to wrap it up. Now that we're doing weekly sessions, without breaks, we can get some nice dense D&D in here.
Which I don't think, by the way, we've announced at all. That's a thing that we're doing now.
Oh, yeah.
Weekly.
We're weekly. So we're doing slightly shorter sessions without breaks, but weekly.
Honestly, the best place to find out where we're live is Discord. It tells you every time.
Or Twitter.
Like, yo.
Where in neither place did we announce this either.
Yeah.
No.
Trying to keep that real mercurial schedule. Will they play this week? Will they not? Who
Yeah,
knows? Exactly. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Come back next week to find out the resolution of a couple of things. And yeah, that's going to do it for us. Why don't we go ahead and go around the table, everyone say what they do, and we'll pop over to another stream. Get that stream train going. Bryn, why don't you kick us off?
Hi everyone, my name is Alishiera. I played Brynjael in a very tense session today. I stream 3 days a week and I'm in the midst of doing other content creation stuff, so you can just find me on Alishiera on whatever socials I have.
Awesome. Emmy.
Thanks, guys. I'm Nicole. I played the piece of shit formerly known as Eminence. I don't like her right now, but she's fun.
What is going on with my sinuses? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Tune in like 25 sessions for a possible redemption arc for, a horrible creature.
She's
And
wonderful.
big sister Ori.
Hi, I'm Mel Lefson, and I played Oriana, who, I don't feel like she's that big of a piece of shit. She has been helping, but she's
Chaotic evil?
Yes.
Look, she knows what she is.
She's pretty comfortable with who she is as a person. You can find me all over the internet at the same screen name I have here, Mel_Efson with an underscore, because I can't get it without. But yeah, I do stuff and I do things.
Amazing. Aery.
Sorry, I just read what Ali said in chat, that Aery was spending his time sketching a version of Mephistopheles. He'll do that tomorrow when he's over the intense fear and stress of the situation.
Yeah. Once you remove the fear.
Yeah. But yes, hello, I'm Jimmy your cat. I am an artist. I have commissions open at the moment for D&D art commissions. So if you want something like what we see on the stream, hit me up on Twitter. And yeah, I've been playing Aery, who is, I don't even really know. Aery.
Chaotic corny.
Yeah, he's chaotic horny. That's it. So yes, thank you for joining us.
Yes. And Natalie.
Hi, I'm BurrowsRed. I play Natalie. I am a streamer. I am a person who does the things. Brain just switched off entirely because I found the perfect people to raid, and it's like it's just my brain's gone. But I have an Etsy store for RPG stickers, so check it out.
Awesome. Do we have a link on the channel?
I don't think so, but it's Burrows Art, so you can look it up. You have Google.
We'll find it. Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I have been Dom, the Dungeon Master. That was a super fun session. I am very glad. I prepared so many different contingencies for how that would go, and I am intrigued, to say the least, with how the party navigated it. So, needless to say,
that will not be the last of dear old dad. That said, come back next week for more awesome Chocolatiers here on the Wisdom Saves. If you're interested in finding more stuff that I do, you can check me out on Twitter down below, but I'll be streaming here basically weekly for the most part with this lovely group of people. But that's it for me. Let's rate somebody.
Have a horribly great place to go. Okay.
Oh,
So it is a mature stream. It is the dating game, a Monster Manual Edition. Currently, they have the choice between the Lorax, Oompa Loompa, and Danny DeVito. So just as an idea of what we're getting into here, it's great. It's just great, and it's absolutely why my brain just died before. So
Danny DeVito, easy. Come on,
Yeah.
next.
Thorax.
He's the
Done.
big bad end. Like, what is it? I can't remember.
PvEG.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, Danny DeVito is going to play Mephistopheles in the live-action remake of The Chocolatiers.
Perfect casting. Can't
Yeah,
imagine anyone better.
A lot of the reactions to him will not translate into that.
You don't want to see?
An arseless chap, so.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I'll see you next week for more D&D action.
Yay.